Well, I guess this one is kind of a long time coming. I guess it was about a year ago that I decided to put a little bit more work and focusing on what's happening on here. And I never really took it seriously just because I didn't really care and I had so much going on in my life. But just wanted to say thank you so much for supporting just a little bit of what comes on here, especially in terms of my music. I am always blown away by the kind of things that I hear from people, especially in the messages when you guys let me know how a specific song made you feel or something that I wrote. I really appreciate that, and it kind of really motivates me to do more of this. And I never used to take it seriously, but I am gonna post more regularly on here just because it's just motivating to keep making more and more music. And I'm in love with the gear that I have, and I'm a collector, and I love the kind of experimentation that can be done with guitars. So what I'm trying to say is thank you so much for spending your time on here and getting us to this tiny little community of like 1,000 people. There's so much. I mean, when I look back at it now over the past few years, I've written so much music on here, and just to see the fact that people actually pay attention and leave me these messages telling me how it made them feel is very rewarding for me personally. And I just wanted to say a big fat thank you for doing that. So I wanted to share with you the story of how I started playing. And I got this question from a couple of people and a couple of friends in passing as well. So since we are now at 1,000 people strong, I wanted to kind of share that little bit of a story. So it's actually really weird. I was in a band when I was a kid, and it was a full-on band. When I say full band, it's like we had two guitarists, which was a rhythm guitarist, a lead guitarist. We had a bassist, so we had a bass player, and we had a vocalist, which was me. I did not know how to play guitar, and I was still learning. Obviously, we all sucked big time. We were not really good at what we were doing. We managed to sound okay-ish at best. And it's a funny story. The way that I picked up the guitar was actually because of the two guitarists that I have. And these guys would just keep fighting each other all the time, and it wasn't like fighting as in fist fights, but it was more like just constant bickering just because they wanted to get the lead parts, or one thought that the other one was too loud, or one thought that, you know what, you're playing this part wrong, I can do it better. And consider the fact that we're all kids, right? Like, we were barely out of high school and we did not know anything about sounding great because we were all at an amateur level. That is it's a recipe for bad disaster. And the crazy part is, just noodling around at these jam sessions, I used to sit down and try to understand a little bit about how they were playing, and they managed to show me a few things. Somebody who knew absolutely nothing about the guitar. I learned like a few notes here and there and tried to understand what the scales were like a little bit. And I took the risk and invested in a very cheap, extremely hard to play acoustic guitar, and it was a pain. It was so tough to play that guitar. I mean, now that I look back, years and years past, it's been about 10 years that I've been playing guitar now, and the 1 year that I spent playing on this really hard to play guitar with this big neck and really high action, really hard to push down on those strings, it was not easy at all. Suffice it to say, I made a lot of progress within the first month that I was playing, and I was in love with it. I guess that's one thing that you really need to have in case you want to make music. You really need to be able to love that experimentation and be able to open your mind and try all these things. And within a few months, I could play all the stuff that they were playing. And this is no dig at my old friends. We were all amateurs, alright? Just not really saying much that I could play better than you, because it was still major time amateur. And I mean, that just kind of kept motivating me as I kept experimenting with all the technology and all these different ways to record. It just opened up new worlds for me. I moved through these things fast. I was super into writing music. I did not care about covering much. I used to listen to a big variety of music, all the way from blues to hip hop to rock music to metal, and it covered a really big, huge range. And that's kind of exciting, just because it you never know where you could go with that kind of input and what the output might look like. And obviously the best part about being so excited about it was just keep writing. You know, I just kept writing, and within a couple of years I've written about 50 different songs, and some of them were actually pretty decent and some of them were not good at all. I kept being self-critical and just making more and more music. I think it was about 4 years ago that I really started to take it seriously, and I learned how to make videos to go along with the music. I did a lot of experimentation, and I studied a little bit of music theory. I opened my mind to a lot of different genres. I would have never ever cared about. And yeah, my music is mostly based on themes of psychology. There's a lot of exploration themes there. There is a lot of focus on exploration, and I'm a big believer in studying history. And there's actually a lot of mythology that inspires me. I guess looking back at my influences, I'm not really surprised. I'm a big fan of Tool. I'm a huge fan of a lot of these big bands. I'm a fan of 30 Seconds to Mars and many of these early 2000s bands that were absolutely instrumental in shaping a lot of my inspired sound. And I'm still developing that. A lot of my music sounds very different from the music that I used to make or the music that I've been making just like a few months ago. I guess it's not really meant to be very mainstream or very popular, really. It surely doesn't sound like popular music, that's for sure. It's crazy how some of these tracks have incited a response and just given me feedback from people. I totally appreciate that. That's something that's not only made my day, my week, my month, my year, but it's really motivated me to keep making a lot more of it. And I love posting gear videos as well. That's also part of my music. I love experimenting with gear, especially reverb pedals and delay pedals and loopers and stuff like that. So that's the kind of posting that you probably see a lot on this channel. But what it does do is it lets me speak. And being able to speak is such a blessing, and being able to be heard by people and getting feedback from them is incredible. So this really small community that I've got over here at the YouTube channel, I just wanted to say once again a big fat thank you for coming over and checking out my stuff and leaving me these super nice messages, sharing with me your personal life stories and how these songs really made you feel. And for the people who check out my lo-fi favorites and everything, there's so much content coming in. I decided to feature a lot of the lo-fi music that I was into, especially because lo-fi is such an incredible genre, super underrated, that people haven't really paid as much attention to as it probably should. And even though it is kind of like it's like a very well-known secret, I still feel like there's people who don't really know what lo-fi is and the kind of psychedelic, experimentative, alternative sort of aspects it has. I feel like it really needs to be recognized, and you know what? In the near future, I plan to do a lot more content surrounding lo-fi on my channel. I love the genre, I've always loved it. It's been about 4 to 5 years since it started to come out as a proper online little movement, and I wanted to support it, so lo-fi was a big part of it. I want to bring so much more awareness to the lo-fi community. I want to talk about all these amazing lo-fi artists that just don't get that kind of exposure, you know? I want to do a lot of reviews, and we are working on a very cool regular podcast. It's really something that I want to engage the channel with. It's not going to be super frequent, but I might be doing a lot of great weekly content for anybody who wants to listen. So that being said, once again guys, thank you so much to the 1,000+ of you who subscribed to the channel. I totally appreciate it, and it is so cool to hear your stories. I want to hear so much more from you because it totally 100% inspires me. It drives me crazy to be able to understand the kind of things that you've been through. Being a psychology guy, it's just something that's always shaped my perspective. It really fuels those creative fires that I have burning inside me. And yeah guys, thank you so much for subscribing. I totally appreciate it. This is our 1,000 subscriber special. See you next time.